Classified is in the building or in the studio. How are you, sir?
I'm all right, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much for taking the trip here. I know last time we did it at your place when I was in awe to be in your studio. So to have you here
good
in
to be
my
back
studio.
here. Yeah, man. Good switch up.
What do you think so far? You
It's
feel
fresh
good?
in here, man. Yeah, it's comfortable in here.
It is.
You know what I mean? It's you can tell you're still renovating. You were telling me before I came in, but it just feels nice when you walk in. I like the vibe.
When I went into your studio, I noticed it was a very comfortable place to work. And I took that from your spot. And I was like, I need to be able to be comfortable here. That's why there's no couch behind you, but you can't feel forced to work. And I like a place where you just, you just come
Feels
down.
good to go in. Oh,
Exactly.
If I'm gone away for 2 weeks and I come into the studio, as soon as I walk in that room, it's just like it feels like home when I go into my studio.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
the vibe, yeah.
Hence, like, I got the little kitchen here, so it's not done yet, but like, coffee.
That's dope.
You got to feel like you're at home. So yeah, like I said, welcome to the podcast, man. I appreciate you. I think a lot of people really want to hear from you. Obviously it's a sad time right now with one of the greatest battle rappers of all time, Pat, passing away. When a lot of people hear the name Classified, they think of the hip hop community here in Atlantic Canada, across Canada. And I know in the intro, I think a lot of people want to hear maybe from what your perspective is with Pat, your relationship you had with him, personal and business, and maybe some of the earlier memories that you had with him.
I met Pat a few years ago as a fan first. You know what I mean? I watched him come up in the Battle League, do all that. And, I'm a fan of hip hop. I'm a fan of battling. To see someone from Nova Scotia do what he did was like, that's why I made my song Super Nova Scotian, was because Pat Stay and Scratch Bastard. That was the two main reasons. I was like, we got the best battler in the world from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. We got the best, top 5 DJ in the world from Bedford, Nova Scotia. And, I think a lot of people didn't recognize what we kind of had here with those two guys. But Pat individually, it was like, now that he's gone and you see this reception and seeing all these people and these great artists, all saying, they had respect for him and knew what he did. It's crazy to see, but we all kind of knew that as well. We already knew he was the best. We knew that Eminem put him in a movie that he produced. We knew Drake brought him out to battle at his private party and all these cool things. But do I wish Pat got to see all this love right now? Definitely. I think he'd appreciate that. And, sad time, man. It's kind of hard to talk about it still.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I was talking to my friend Tommy, and we talked about it for a second. I was like, what's your reaction of all this? And he goes, if Pat knew that we were upset right now, he would be laughing and making fun of all of us. I don't think he would want us to be upset. I think he would want us just to recognize the work that he put in and move on from
I think so too, but I think at the same time to see the support, especially for his family, his young boy, stepdaughter, and to see people stepping up like that. Like, as much as Pat likes to play things off, like, stop acting corny, guys. I think he'd really appreciate that and be like, that would fill a spot, I think, in his heart to be like, man, to see that support from my family when I'm gone. Yeah.
One of the most underrated parts of this part of the world is the talent that comes here, not even from music. Sports. Nathan McKinnon just won a cup. Crosby. I loved in that video Supernova. You had Crosby at the beginning. What was the interview he did with Pierre Maguire? What did he say in that interview? He's like, we got to keep going.
We got a good team this year. The boys are working. Just talking about being a team and everybody working together. And that was the whole vibe of the Super Nova Scotia thing. And that's why I made it, man. I was like, man, we have some of the greatest artists, greatest athletes coming from small town Nova Scotia, which still blows my mind, because I'm like, our population is so small compared to most places. We don't get a lot of the big concerts here, the big events. We don't have a professional sports team, but yet we still produce these top tier artists and sports and athletes and all this stuff. So it's, proud to be Nova Scotian always, but now more than ever, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, world class coming from this part of the world.
Definitely.
World class.
100%.
You love shooting music videos. I was going through your
I don't love it.
Man,
you
do it.
It's crucial.
You do it.
Yeah, we do it. Got to do it, because I think it's just when you put a visual to audio, you get to hit another part of people's brains. You make a song, that's one thing, you get to hear it, but if I can make a video, especially if it's something I feel like it's going to fit with the song and give the song new life, even though it's more work, and it's like sometimes more work to do the video than what the song is, but I do think it helps spread the song a little bit further.
Yeah, that's fair. Do you trust directors' input, or do you like to take over that aspect of it as well?
Well, me and my brother shoot all my videos.
Yes.
For the last 3, 4, 5 years, we've shot everything. So we'll sit in my studio, come up with an idea, and then just argue for a couple weeks back and forth on what we want to do. But yeah, no, I have a ton of input. Usually coming up with an idea, or Mike will come up with an idea, and then Mike will put it all together. He does the shooting, the editing. But we you know, we'll sit there at the video shoot, and I'm over his shoulder yelling at something. He's like, "Shut up!" So it's, you know, sibling rivalry, but it seems to work. We get the job done.
Did you ever have a challenge at the very beginning of your career being on camera? Obviously, being in front of
Yeah,
people,
definitely.
it was tough at the
Definitely.
beginning.
You know what I mean? Just like this 19-year-old kid, like our first video. I guess my first video was in Halifax, but my first legit video that did anything, we had to fly up to Toronto, and you know, the whole film crew's there and everything's set up and there's trucks, and you're like, all right, here we go. And then there's just action. The camera's on me, and I'm just like, all right, let's, you know, it took me a while to get comfortable in the camera. Whether it was interviews, videos, anything. It was just like, you know, I was good in the studio, but when it was like coming out, I think any 19, 20-year-old person, guy, girl, whatever it is, they're still trying to find themselves. So it took me a minute to find myself and realize, man, just be yourself, be comfortable like that.
Yeah.
You know, at 19, I was still trying to be a little edgy. You know,
I got you.
gotta put it on a little bit. But as you grow up, you kind of get comfortable with yourself and who you are and your flaws and your all that stuff. So I don't mind it now at all. It doesn't bug me at all. But in the old days, it was like, all right, you know, you had to be up at 7 a.m. Taxi picks you up, takes you downtown Toronto. You got someone telling you what to wear, or at least giving you options. You want this jacket, this, and this. Now I just go in my closet, grab what I need to grab, and go do it. So it's more chill now. Before it seemed like it was
Work.
yeah.
Felt.
It just felt a little overproduced. Like everything was like, oh, so big, and the film crew and the catering. Now it's me and my brother and a camera, and we just go do our thing.
That's great.
Yeah.
The secret's out in the world when it comes to the entertainment industry is that you don't have to leave home. Back in the day, yeah, you got to go to New York, you got to go to
100%.
Toronto, and now everyone knows that the secret is out with the internet. You can just do it from where you're from. Did you know that rule back then, or was there a part of you back when you were 19, 20 that I got to go to Toronto, I got to go to New York?
Yeah, you had to. There was no, you had to tour. There was no, you know, like my first national album was like 2003. So little bit of internet, but not like now, not like, oh, you put an album out, you go on your social media, you put it on Instagram, Twitter. Like there was none of that. So it was more about media. You'd go up to Much Music, do your interview at Much Music. You'd try to get on a radio station. And especially for hip hop, where there was no real outlet. There was no urban radio in Canada at this point, really, except for maybe in Toronto was the only spot. So you were just trying anything and everything you could. For me, anyway. You know, I never had a label at this point, and I wasn't signed, so it was just a kid that loved what he was doing, and just, all right, let's hook up a tour. Let's get on the Katie and Lyons bus or whatever it is, and go across Canada, and just kind of kept building it like that. Just finding any outlet you could to have people listen to your music.
Yeah, for sure. Did you, when you saw that shift coming, did you thought, ooh, I can take advantage of this? When you can promote yourself.
It wasn't like boom, boom.
No?
It was slowly just like, oh, yeah, okay, everything's on social media now. And even that, I'm trying, like with this acoustic album I dropped. Like my own sister, like a week and a half ago, said my mom was playing the acoustic album in the house. My sister was like, oh, what's this? This is nice. I was like, it's my acoustic album. I dropped like 9 videos this year and been promoting it like crazy, but she's not on social media. So part of me's still going like, I think we get caught up at now and go, well, I put it on my social media. Everybody knows about it. Yeah. And we're getting comfortable with that, kind of forgetting that a lot of people still aren't on social media, or even now kind of sick of it and trying to stay off it. So now it's like a balance of obviously hit your socials, but try not to forget about that real world as well. So like we just took out an ad for the Metro Transit. Like we're getting ads on the side of the bus. As soon as my sister told me that, I was like, my own sister doesn't know this record's out. Went to my team and said, we got to do something. So we're going to like a billboard, some more like real life things, just so people who aren't sitting on my socials following classified will still, you know about this new music.
Well, with the album Retrospected, where did the acoustic idea come from?
Just started with me and David Miles. When I started working with him, we did a couple, like when Inner Ninja came out and that was doing its thing, me and Dave started touring down a bit in the States in a couple different spots. And we'd go into radio and just do acoustic versions. So just him on his guitar, me rapping, and just the vibe we started getting from people. We started shooting like little videos like that. And people are like, oh man, I can hear the lyrics. The storytelling really comes out. So that's kind of what it was just seeing the reception of people hearing these other versions and going, this is, let me try this and see if it's, a little more accessible, I think, for some people. Some people, they hear the heavy beats, the heavy bass, and they don't listen to the songwriting. And I wanted to make sure people listen to the lyrics. So
when you're in an environment playing an acoustic song, does the environment matter? Would you rather a smaller venue or would you rather a larger venue?
Just got to be sitting down.
So you can't be up.
I don't want people standing up. If people are standing up, I want to get up and I want to
Okay,
rock.
I gotcha.
You know what I mean? But if people are sitting, then it's like they're chilling, they're listening. It feels like I sit down in my chair, have my drum machine, my guitar player, and we just, it feels like we're hanging out like this, like in the living room, but I'm going to do a couple songs, explain where the songs came from, and tell more stories behind it like that.
I've always been a big fan of artists that are able to banter in between songs. Apparently, some artists struggle with it when they're doing a live show.
Yeah. I've been in some shows where people will do a song. Thank you.
Next song.
Here it is. I really enjoy, like, especially when I see an artist playing, like, you see their personality on stage. You see them cracking a joke with someone in the front row. You see, hear a story about a song that's like, I had no idea that's where it came from. So that's what I really want to take a lot of pride in is having that as a part of the show, not just come up, get your hands up, rah, 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 but I want to come out, explain where the songs are from. I want to see people laughing. I want to see people crying in the crowd. And we have seen that at a few of these shows we've done. So it's been refreshing for me.
I saw for the trailer for the tour coming out, you brought someone up on stage.
Yeah, we'll do that too. Well, we've only did 3 of these acoustic shows. And, we toured Canada so many times. So most people that come to these shows, half the time they're drunk, ready to party, and they're all sitting in the front row yelling. And I'm like, this is not the vibe. So we have the stage set up like a living room where I'll take the people out of the crowd. I'll be like, okay, you want to be loud? And, I'll bring them up on stage, sit them on the couch, leave them on the stage. And then they kind of calm right down because they're like, oh, shit.
Because everyone's looking at them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, we're still figuring out what this show is like, but it's been fun that way because it's just off the cuff of like, all right, we got to address this now. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
Bring them on stage. And, so it's been fun.
In this business, I've always found it can become repetitive. This is the 404th episode we've ever done of this show. 404. So it can get a little bit repetitive. But what I do love is challenges within the business. And right now, how many years have you been doing this for? Over 20.
Yeah.
And you're saying you're still trying to figure out something for an acoustic show that you're doing in a couple weeks.
That's why I keep doing it.
So that is that what you got to figure out something else?
Yeah. Like it keeps it exciting. I wouldn't do this if I was just doing the same thing. Writing still about being the dopest MC and battling MCs. Yeah. Like the fact that I kind of get to grow up, talk about having kids and finding these, just different values and different outlook on life, especially during COVID and all this, what's going on. Like you kind of look at things different, and that's what makes it interesting for me to keep writing and coming up with new ideas, new song ideas, or new ways to perform, whatever it is. But yeah, no, this isn't something I need to keep really doing. Like I've been pretty smart with my money, invested in like some real estate and stuff, but I like it. Like when I'm done here, I'm going back to the studio, rolling up. I'm going to work on this beat I was working on last night. And just, I'm looking forward to that too, still. And it's been 20, 25 years of doing that same thing, but something about it still gets me.
Yeah, you fell in love with the work. It's pretty much
That's what
all
it was,
is.
man. It was a hobby. It was 15 years old. I didn't think I'd be living off being a rapper from Nova Scotia. Like, it was the farthest thing from my mind. I still thought I had more chance of being in the NHL. That was my goal first, but that didn't happen. So I was like, well, I like doing this with my friends. And it gave me an identity in school. Every kid in my school played hockey. I was one of those kids. Once I started rapping and, be the guy that started rapping at the school dance, it was like, oh, that's Luke. That's what he does. You know what I mean? So it almost separated me from everything else. And I kind of took that and just kept going with it.
Yeah, you're born. You build an identity, and then once you have that identity, you run with it. That was always a thing with me in school. Everyone was everyone's in the same class. I hated doing the same thing everyone else did. Oddly enough, and I knew if I did have a success in an artistic way, podcast, sure, it had to be just different from everyone else because that made me want it more.
Motivated for it.
Exactly,
yeah.
Sure,
100%
motivated.
But that's what I was saying is like, I had fun doing it. It wasn't like I thought, oh man, I'd rather be a rapper than get a normal job. I'll just do this and I'll get rich off this. I never in my mind. I was just like, oh, we did a show. That was fun. Oh, we played a show in the city. Met a bunch of other artists from there, and there's 300 people there, and they're going crazy. It just kept giving me those small goals that kept me motivated and interested in it.
Touring. I heard it's one of the most difficult, but at the same time, one of the most fun part of being an artist.
Definitely. It's like having a kid, man. It's the hardest and the best rewards. You know what I mean?
What's the key to longevity of tour? Because I heard you can eat unhealthy. I heard the sleeps can't be the best. I just hear things. So what's the key to longevity of keeping the energy at an even keel through a tour?
Try not to go too late. This tour is going to be different, but our last tour, which was in 2018. Last 10 years, we've had a tour bus. That changed everything. once you have a tour bus, you can actually keep your schedule. Like, let's see, on the last tour, we would do our show, blah, 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 party, end of the night, shut it down around 4:30. Our bus driver would come on the bus at 5. That's when we're all passing off. We go in our bunks, pass out. He starts driving. So for that 8 hours we're sleeping, we do the drive. We wake up, we're in the next town. I've never seen the road once last tour. Like, I would just go to bed, wake up. It's almost like you're teleporting. It's like, okay, we're in Winnipeg now. Wake up in the morning, you go find Tim Hortons, you go brush your teeth, find your thing. And then you do, like, you try to, whether it's playing basketball, ground hockey, we were doing that on tour. Just getting out, walking, don't just sit on the bus and smoke weed all day, because we made that mistake for a lot of times too. But, you got to make sure you take advantage of your daytime, get out, feel good about yourself, try to eat, because as soon as 7, 8 o'clock starts again, the drinks are going to start again, the party's going to start again.
Yeah.
That goes till 5 a.m. and then it just kind of rotates. But when we were doing the minivan thing, I still don't know how we did that, because we partied till 4 in the morning, and then we're up at 6:30, all packed in a minivan, 7 dudes with all their gear on top of each other. We drive for like 7, 8 hours a day, get to the venue, do our sound check, and start again. And I'm a sleeper. Like, I need my 8 hours sleep, so I don't know how we used to do that. But when you're motivated and young and you're excited and you feel like you're living the dream, it gives you a little bit extra.
I thought you were going to say you need a good driver. I thought that was going to
I was driving half the time.
What about the big bus, though?
Oh, the bus, no. Yeah, we hire a driver for that. That's like a hired professional who does all that. But in the minivan, I'm a backseat driver. I can't sleep on drives like that in the minivan, so I would just drive and let everyone else sleep. So.
Right on. It kind of sounds like a pro hockey player. You're traveling.
Same
you're
thing.
Wake up, you're playing the Winnipeg Jets. You're traveling.
Back on the bus and the plane, back to the next spot.
It's same thing. No, man, that's great. It's awesome that the tour. You must be pumped. Like, obviously you haven't done it,
but it's been
COVID messed you up.
Man. Like, I'm a little bit honestly nervous to leave my family that long. Like, it's only a 4-week tour, I think, but part of me still like I'm counting down the days. It's like 5 weeks. I'm like 4 weeks left. And
why are you nervous?
Just don't like leaving my kids that long, I don't think, or my wife.
Really?
Either. Yeah, which it never really bugged me before, and I know I'm gonna have fun. It'll be whatever. Like, you just got to work through those things. But I think it's just being home for 2 years with not with COVID, but COVID lifestyle, and getting comfortable of, I'm gonna go to the studio today. Okay, I'm take the kids out for, tuck the kids in at night. Like, just got really comfortable to do that every night. That when I'm not there now, I don't know. It's just a little weird. I'm gonna miss Halloween this year too. So
that's a tough one.
You know what I mean? Just little moments like that. That it's like, but. You got to do what you got to do. It's my first tour in 4 years. It's for 4 weeks. Not the end of the world.
When was the last time you performed live?
Last show I did was Edmonton, end of July. Oh, no, I played Port Hawkesbury, August 7th.
Okay.
We did like a live show out there, like a outdoor festival type thing.
Did you find getting back into the live show routine a little difficult, or was it just like riding
First
a bike
show
again?
I did back was Calgary Stampede for like 3,000 people. And me and my brother were backstage. Ivy was already on stage, rest of the band, Owen. And me and Mike were about to go on. And I had this I don't get anxiety, never had depression, nothing like that. Like, you know what I mean? I have a lot of friends that dealt with that stuff. And I didn't quite understand it. And that show, my stomach just went like, right before he went on. And I was like talking to my brother. I'm like, well, I don't know what's going on, but I just don't feel right. He's like, oh, welcome to anxiety. It's like, all right. But as soon as I got on the stage, said the first word, it was like, right back to normal. It was like, oh, we never left. So it's just that getting back up on the horse and get riding again, you feel good.
It's in your DNA.
100%. And even that, like, I thought it would feel weird getting on stage. Would I forget what to do? Would it just feel natural? And it 100% did.
Yeah, just like riding a bike, you're right back in it. When's the first show? September at Shore Club. I saw that.
We got the Shore Club this weekend, Friday and Saturday night. So that's just going to be a fun party. That's everyone packed in a club. We'll do a little bit of acoustic stuff, but most of this is going to be rocking out, partying, enjoying, and, try to forget about last weekend, with what's going on with Pat. I want to honor him somehow. I don't know how I'm even going to do it yet, but I just think that's something I want to mention and, try to put some smiles on people's faces.
Yeah, people want to hear from you. I think a lot of people respect your word.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. I saw that on your tour you do a meet and greet. What are some things that you like to accomplish when meeting fans? What's something you like to get across to them?
Just show love, man. Like, the only reason I do this, especially even before like the labels and the business, and like nobody gave me love when I was coming up. I couldn't get a record deal. I couldn't get love in the industry, but I was just grinding out on tour, and people were, the fact people, I was selling, I remember when Sony reached out to sign me, we sold 23,000 copies of Hitchhiking Music, which in Canada for a hip hop artist, like they had artists, they were putting $500,000 in that weren't doing half of that. So when we started doing that, and they're like, well, and I was sending my demos to Sony's for years, just be like, nah, we're not into it. So I just kept doing the shit myself, selling it, and then they came back and they're like, all right, we'll give you a deal. And, that gave me the power to be, okay, I'm making my album in Enfield. I'm not showing anybody what I'm doing it. I'm sampling, I'm doing everything exact same way I always did. And they just said, yeah, do what you want. We'll front the bill, we'll pay for everything, we'll have our team to back you up. But, that was just because I, kind of did it myself and proved myself first. Yeah. Can't remember what the original question was or where this was going.
What's something that you like to get across to the fans when you meet
them?
When
I'm meeting them?
Yeah.
Just the appreciation. Yeah, that's what it was. So it was like the fans are the ones that built my career. It wasn't like I had this big label that pushed me and all of a sudden I just got thrown down everyone's throats and now everyone, loves me or whatever. It was just that regular dude or that regular girl that would come out to the show, buy a shirt, and you know what I mean? The same people. I see people from 20 years ago coming to my first show, still coming to my shows. Not, yeah, man. Like, and these people I consider friends now. Like, I know them first name basis, and you know what I mean? So it's almost like these people became friends over the years. So when I'm doing these meet and greets, the same thing. I just want to show love, shake someone's hand if they want a picture, if they want me to sign something. I live a pretty comfortable life because of these people, so I want to make sure they know that.
Speaking of Pat, one lesson I learned from him, I was picking him up from the first podcast we did. We did it at 4:30, and I had to go pick him up in Dartmouth. So 4:30, think of the bridge, we're traffic. So we're sitting in the car for like an hour together. Just kind of, I don't really know this guy, He's taking phone calls while I'm just sitting there. Holy shit. And we stop at Shoppers. He has to pick up Lip Chap. And Lip Chap, you're thinking in and out, 2 minutes. He's in there for like 15, 20 minutes. Comes back in the car. And I'm just like, hey, like, that was long. What were you doing in there? He goes, I got recognized. I'm like, oh, okay. He goes, yeah, like whenever someone notices me, I like to like take my time. So he was in there for 15 minutes talking to a complete stranger while he was buying Lip Chap. And I always took that to heart. I was like, man, this guy took the time to talk to a stranger in Shoppers while I was waiting for him and just kind of took that moment. And I always took that and ran with it. And that was kind of a lesson that you're trying to teach right now. It's like, no, just get to know these people. These people are helping you live a comfortable life.
They appreciate you. You got to appreciate them. And that's just Pat, though, too, man. Pat likes to make people feel good.
Yeah.
Like if I'm having a conversation with Pat, if I'm stressing on something, he'll say the right thing that goes, yeah, you're right. Let's look at it that way. Even going to his battles, like he just made people laugh. If you watch, me and my wife were watching his battles last night, and you just see the whole crowd. It doesn't matter if it's the guys he's battling and their crew. Everybody is smiling just because Pat makes people feel good with what he does.
Yeah, absolutely. What was I gonna say? I had a great question lined up. Yes, you said when you signed with Sony, you're like, I'm doing the album in Enfield. Mm-hmm. Do you think throughout your career that has benefited you artistically? 100%. Because Sony's like, hey, class, do you mind coming into the office Tuesday? I just want to talk about a couple things. But it's like, this guy's in Enfield. Just leave him alone. Let him do what he has to do. Is that ever
100%?
Has it?
It's just not being influenced too of what's going on. Like if I was like, I've been asked to go to LA, New York, and go to Toronto, and you got to go down there, man. Like, you got to get in the rooms with the right people, and and I'm always like, no, like, I just felt like even up to like my last album my album in 2018, my manager at the time was like, come on, man, we got to go to LA. And I'm like, bro, we're still making hits. Like, why would I change what I'm doing? Like, this is, of course you want to always go outside the box and try different stuff, but I make my beats. I sit in my studio alone, come up with my ideas. And that's just how I've been always able to put, these personal songs together and songs that are like Powerless, that no one in LA is writing songs like that, because it's such I shouldn't say anybody, but the majority of it is when you go there, it's you get in the room with the hot producer or the hot writers and you guys all try to collaborate, and it's a bunch of people you don't know or have any personal relationship with. And it's like, how do you make personal music like that? Like for me, it's like I got to be around my brother, I got to be around my friends, I got to be around my family. I'll show my mom and dad songs, I'll show, my brother, whatever it is, and it's just always the way I did it felt comfortable, and it never felt like work. It was never like, oh, I got to go to LA for 2 weeks and grind out for 9 hours a day in the studio with Joe Blow. If I go to the studio, I'm not having fun, I turn it off and go shoot hoops or go for a dirt bike ride or something else. And I don't like being on a schedule. I've been in studios even in Halifax where in 2001 they paid for me to go to a studio, and it was like the worst experience. I hated it. Like I was sitting on the mic looking at the clock, and
Where's it in the States?
No, this is in Halifax.
Halifax.
Just even Halifax.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and the engineers trying to give me advice on how to rap and where to lay on the beat. And I'm like, it caught me off guard. So from that point, I'm like, no, I'm just going to do it the way I'm doing it because I feel like I'm still just getting better and still pushing the needle and trying to, keep moving. So, yeah, no, I think, and go back to your question, like even when I first went to Toronto for a show, I remember being nervous about that because everyone called it the Screwface Capital and everyone hates everyone in Toronto. And I went there, and the amount of love I got, and just from people's comments, are like, no, man, like we see all these Toronto artists every week. You're that guy from Nova Scotia, and you've never been up here in years or at all. And they seem to appreciate that it was like someone kind of coming from out of their spot, coming in town once in a while. And Toronto's probably, if not, it's one of the best places for me to play in the country. Like I get more love from there, the biggest crowds. Obviously they have more people, but the industry side of it all there, you still got to go there, do the interviews and the press. But no, I think just being from Halifax kept me grounded, kept me always my mind going like I got to, try to do this, try to get better. And it almost, I think it made me try to prove myself a little more too.
I got you.
When people are like, you got to go there. I was like, no, I don't. Now let me prove to you that I don't have to. And made me work a little bit harder.
I got you. I need a little bit of advice from you. The biggest, so we're a sports company, the biggest sports industry in Canada is in Toronto. And there's always an idea of me that wants to flirt with going up to Toronto for a week, get in a hotel, bring the mics, bring the cameras, set up 4 episodes. And, that's expensive. Like we make money with this company, but like, a couple flights, hotel, it's food. It's a lot of money. It's an investment. And I'm on this line right now where we have the sports industry here. They really like us. We're a medium fish in a medium pond, I guess you would say. But up there, we're a medium fish in a big pond. What do you, a little bit of advice for me would be to go up there, to maybe invest some time with some athletes? Yeah.
I think it's a good idea to go up. You can't ignore what Toronto is. You know what I mean?
It is what it is.
And like what you said, like go up there for a few days, go get your feet wet. You'll make a couple connections, come back, take that knowledge and grow even bigger here. But I was the same way, man. It was just small fish or whatever you want. What did you say?
I said medium fish in a medium pond.
I was the same thing. Then you go up to Toronto and you kind of go, oh, okay, I'm a medium fish in a big pond, but I'm going to pick up some of this information. You're going to get a little bit more, not respect, but I think people will pay attention more just because you're not from there and you're not the same guy that's been doing the podcast for 4 years out of Toronto. And it's like, oh, this guy's coming up to do it. But just, you can learn stuff going to other places. Just return and use that knowledge you gained.
Okay.
Yeah, go do it.
All right. I'll take that. I'll run with it. We're going. Look, he's got the Jays shirt on and everything.
Good to go. Gotta go.
Coming up with new ideas. This many years of doing this craft that they like to call hip hop. New ideas, I think, are really, really tough. Original ideas are really tough because if you look at the hip hop, a lot of songs are very similar, but you always have creative ideas that are outside the box. How?
I think that's my strongest thing. Like just talking to friends, and I was never the best rapper. I never had the best flow, but it was like concepts. Like, my boys would always say, like, that's your thing, man. Like you, and I think it's just my imagination, man. I come up with way too many concepts and I'll write it down. 90% of them I don't use. But then you'll have, that 1 out of 10 that's like, yeah, that could be something. I could see people, hearing this and reflecting or whatever it is. And I don't know. I like my mind's always racing, man. It's always looking for new ideas. And like I'm working on an album right now with my brother. It's called The Hardy Boys.
That's great.
It's just like, it's me and him just like over some boom bap 90s beats, just rapping, having fun. And like the one we just made last week is called We're the World's Greatest Tag Team. And we're just talking shit. But like every reference is an old WWF tag team.
Okay.
So it's just like, I don't know, man. That shit's fun to me. Just to find new ways to play off words, like that. But then sometimes serious things happen. Like I was saying with Powerless, you just see something in the world happen and you go like, man, why does this keep happening? Why does no one talk about this? Why isn't this addressed? And then that becomes like a song idea. And that's happened many times as well. I got another song I'm working on right now. It's called I Don't Like People. And it's just talking like, I don't care if you're vaxxed, anti-vax, maskless, anti-mask. I don't care if you're vegan. Like, I just find like right now our world is so separated by the most stupid things that we're arguing about. And it's like, we all got some major problems in this world that if we just stop dealing with all these individual bullshit, maybe we could come together and, solve some bigger problems. And that's just observant, just seeing what's going on in the world and just being like, we're complaining about this again. Hey, we're worried about this, and then, oh yeah, the world's about to end. And, it's just, you hear all these things, and it's, I don't know, just watching humans and see how they act. And
it's an interesting world. I just think people, my opinion on that is people aren't busy enough. I'm busy. Like, I don't know, you're busy. There's a lot of people opinionated. A lot of people care about the most random things that they shouldn't care about. But I don't know. I'm so busy it's hard for me to focus on things that are going on in the world when, in order for me to better myself, my family, my employees, everyone,
well, you gotta
be mental health. Yeah. Like whenever I'm down, I just work, or like I clean, I'll do the dishes. Just
purpose, accomplishment. Like that's to me is what I noticed over COVID is just, I need purpose, man. Like when COVID first hit, I just stopped. I was like, well, this ain't going to last long. I'll take a couple weeks off. Didn't go to the studio. Went biking more, had a couple more drinks, smoked a bit more. Just kind of just like, I'll just party for 2 or 3 weeks. COVID can't last that long.
Yeah.
Vacation, 6 months later, I was just like, oh my gosh. And then that's when I started getting down and going, what the hell? And as soon as I went back to the studio, the first day I was like, I miss this. This is what I need. So yeah, this is what I need in my life. Purpose, like a reason to wake up every morning and go, what am I doing today?
Yeah. Where's the fight today?
Yeah.
How do I win the fight?
Yeah. What can I accomplish? I want to just get one beat done, and I want to get the hook done on that. And I feel like I did something today.
Yeah. How do you feel about the studio at home? Obviously, it's working for you, but was there ever an adjustment? Like, honey, please stay out here just for a couple hours. Like, kids, or do you welcome it? You welcome the chaos?
Usually, I'll welcome it because they don't come out that much. My wife knows when I'm out there, I'm working, and she's, like yesterday, my kid came over with 2 of her friends, like, come see my dad's studio.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there just kind of like smoky room, like, kids, get out. Like, you can't be in here right now. Give you a couple hours. But
smoky.
Yeah, but no, I only can work from home. Like I said, I tried that one time in Halifax to rent a studio, and I didn't like it at all. I like to work on my own time, my own hours. If I get an idea, I run out to the studio. If I get bored or get a call, I run in the kitchen, have dinner with the kids, whatever it is. It's just the way I operate the best.
Beat the traffic. Takes 2 minutes to get to work.
Yeah, I don't got to dress. Just walk out in your underwear in the studio all day. No worries.
Honestly, when I did come to your house for that first time, I took a lot from you. Cause I just like, man, here's the power. This is having the studio at the
for
place.
Some people. But like, I got friends that totally can't do it. Like I got a buddy that's got his studio in his house right now, and he called me like, man, let's try to rent a spot for a studio because I can't. He just needs to get out of his house. He needs to feel like he leaves in the morning. I think he just finds that, he'd go to the studio, get distracted, go back in, and, he has a hard time just staying 100% on the music.
That's like me with the gym. I can't work out here. I got to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And I can't just do push-ups over there.
You just give up. I got enough done, whatever.
There's the TV. You got to be in a different.
100%.
It's like that.
So I see why some people are like that. They got to get out of that zone to just be like, nah, I'm in work mode. Now let me come home and be in home mode. But for me, it's just been comfortable to do it that way.
I was listening to a song, Inspiration. 2013, you put that out?
When did that? No, that would have been like 2010, 2009. That was on my first album with Sony, when I first signed with Sony.
And what was the guy's name that sent you the beat?
Phil.
Phil sent you the beat.
Oh, no, I sent him the beat originally. It was a beat I wrote to. I'll just give you the quick.
Yeah, go.
So I made a beat, make a bunch of beats. I'm always making beats. I started writing some, didn't finish it. So I just took that beat, put it in my like selling folder. When people reach out for beats, I'll send them 100 beats. He ended up getting that beat. He was like, oh, I want that beat. I was like, cool. Never heard from him for like 6 months. And then his friend hit me up. He was like, hey, man, Phil, he bought this beat. He died in a car crash. Just wanted you to know that. And then I went back to that beat and wrote the story about Phil and just saying like, it's called Inspiration. Like he wrote me and said I inspired him with this beat. And I was like, no, man, you inspired me with your story and with what happened, that I'm going to finish this song up, for you. It's, you got to really take the whole song in, but that's kind of the quick story of it.
So the question was, how long before you found out that he passed away in that email before you were in the studio writing, saying, okay, I need to make a song about this? Because it seems like a lot of the songs that you make are very based on your life and things that you're going through. And I've always just wondered about the turnover time before an idea's in the head, before the pen's on paper, before the song is made.
Yeah.
How long is that?
Sometimes that one was, I feel like that one was only like 2 or 3 weeks. That wasn't long. But like, Choose Your Own Adventure, which was another thing on that same album. It was, like a 6-part series where you go through my album and it ends. And it's like, hey, if you want to go to the city, go to track 9. If you want to go bike riding with Mike Boy, go to track 8.
That was great.
That idea I had for like 5-6 years, and I just couldn't figure out how to do it. And then one day I was just like, let me just do it. So some ideas will be like that. Some of them will just sit in my phone or my notebook for years and never get used, or come back to it and kind of go, oh, okay, let me try this now. So
okay, cool.
Kind of, yeah. It's sometimes quick, sometimes can be a long time.
Do you drink coffee?
No.
So in the morning, I hear, at least I work the hardest, I'm the most creative in the morning. Do you have a set time?
I usually go to the studio it's a little different now since COVID kind of messed everything up. But usually, on average, it was always like 10 to 5. Like I would treat it like till 5, yeah. Once in a while, I'll do some night sessions. Like when we did Supernova Scotia with Pat Stay and Bubbles and all them. That was all nighttime. They all came out at like 6 o'clock. We stayed till like midnight. But when I'm working by myself, I really try to keep it like a job. And that's just so I can be with my kids when they, after supper. I want to be able to sit down for supper. I want to sit down after supper, hang out like that. Like I really wanted to keep that normal lifestyle so I can be around my kids. So, yeah, it's like a job.
Man, you've you've maneuvered this. Like you're very rare.
I got lucky. I got lucky a lot.
I don't think you got lucky. I think
I created my luck. I created the opportunities for luck to happen. But a lot of things I do think were like, shit, that wasn't planned. Worked out good. That's happened a few times. But yeah, I think the work created that. I definitely think I don't know anyone that works harder at music than I do for this long. Yeah.
When you're out in Enfield, do you get more hey Classified, or do you get hey more Luke? Hey Luke or hey Classified?
Now Classified. Just because it's growing so much.
Like at the grocery store?
Yeah, like Enfield is just crazy how much it's grown up. But when I first moved back 10 years ago, it was, hey, Luke.
Hey, Luke.
Oh, Luke, you're doing great, man. Good to see you. Oh, you're back in Enfield,
Yeah.
So. And Enfield was small. It is getting bigger now, but like
it is.
You kind of knew everybody back in the day. Like you go to the grocery store, hey, everyone knew everybody. But now it is growing so much that more strangers.
Jonathan Torrens, aka J Rock.
Yes, sir.
Torrens? Correct. Yeah. Torrens. He had a cool story about when he found out that the Trailer Park Boys was probably going to work. He was at a hotel downtown Halifax, and an old man who was like 80 years old came up to him, and he's like, "Do you know what I'm saying?" Meaning like, he's like, "You know what I'm saying?" And he's like, "That's the moment I found out that I think the show was going to work." I was wondering what that moment was for you, where this rap career could work. What was that moment?
I don't know if there was one moment. I remember like one moment when my first video, Unpredictable, and this was like 99, played on Much Music. Sorry, I was at my girl's apartment. It was like middle of the day, and the video came on TV. And I was like, oh, shit. And we went outside, and as soon as we went outside of her apartment, a girl came and she was, oh my God, I just saw your video on Much Music. That was the first moment that was like, holy shit, someone knows who I am.
TV back then.
TV was, if you had a video on Much Music, you had some kind of career. You were doing, it was like legit. Not now, like anybody could put a video on YouTube and no one would have. TV was a huge thing. And that was, to me, one of the biggest, like, ways to spread my music back in those days was Much Music. If I didn't have that, I don't think I'd be doing what I do. But yeah, there was that moment. But for me, the thing I always say was like, oh shit, this might be for real, was I was working at the Maritime Center.
Right at the end of Spring Garden Road.
X-Wave. I used to work there when I was like 21, right at CompuCollege. College. And making good money for a 21-year-old, bought my first car, all this. And they were laying us a bunch of people off. So they're like, hey, we got to lay you off. We're losing people. And I was kind of like, oh, shit. But I was kind of like, okay, I got a year of unemployment. This is perfect. I can do my music thing. My bills are paid. Last day of work, I went in and the boss came down. He's like, man, I found you another job. We can keep you here. And, part of me was like, oh, that's great. But the other part was like, man, I was so set to just do this music thing for a year. So I told him, I was like, man, I don't think I want the job. And my parents were all like, you just went to college. You got the, what are you doing? And I was like, I just want to try this for a year. If I can make this thing last for a year, and once unemployment runs out, if I'm still making enough money to pay my bills, I'll just keep going as long as I could. And that was 2003, 2004.
So you already had a video on Much Music then?
Yeah. Like I was doing my thing. My work even gave. I even did little tours. Like this is right. I remember Trial and Error. I wrote most of that album sitting at this help desk working because I barely did anything. I just write and watch wrestling websites. But yeah, they would give me, like, I remember just taking time off. I'd take a month off and be like, I'm going to open up for Chocolate on a maritime tour. And like, oh, we'll support that. And they let me do my thing. So they were cool. But yeah, once the unemployment thing kicked in, it was just like, let's go hard. Went hard for the year and never went back to work since then. So
that's awesome.
that was the moment, I think.
So you took it as like a sign from the universe, maybe? Like,
I think so. Yeah, it was like, I think a lot of artists have that moment where they're like, okay, this is it. Like I played it pretty safe the whole time. I'd put out my records, do my shows, but I always had my college or had my job, had my backup plan because I never thought I would make this shit work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then went for it that one year and just, it worked.
Meant to be.
Meant to be, I hope.
You're still trying. I don't know if you're still trying to figure, is this going to work?
We'll see what happens in the next 20.
But it's true, though. Like, you're never satisfied. You're never going like,
I think once you're satisfied, it's kind of over, man. Like, and that's something I'm learning too. Like something I said on one of my other songs, life's a journey, not a destination. Like when people are like, dude, you made it. How does it feel? It's not like I sit here and go, well, today I feel, it's like, man, I look back at the last 20 years and go, man, it feels pretty good because I remember this and that and this. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever question yourself when you didn't have money? When I always think about this, I go like maybe potentially one day I have a lot of money and I wonder if the motivation will go out the window. Not that money is the motivation. Obviously I love this craft.
Yeah.
But there is a part of me that wonders, man, if I got a couple mil in the bank account, maybe I won't be as hungry. I think about that. Did you ever think about that when you were coming up a little bit?
A little bit, but it didn't make a difference.
It didn't? Okay, good.
No, I worked just as hard as I did now when I had $5,000 in the bank or when I have good to go money in the bank. You know what I mean? So yeah, it didn't, because it's fun. Like it sounds so corny and cliche, but it's like I like doing what I do. Shows is one thing. Shows is the biggest rush. The best drug you'll ever take in your life is being on stage and see 1,000 people singing your lyrics that you wrote by yourself in Enfield in a little studio, and you see these people. You see people crying about shit you write. Like that is like I get goosebumps thinking about that. You can see it on me right now. That's a drug, and I think that's why I don't do hard drugs, is because I never needed that. You know what I mean? Like I had that thing. So, and then even in the studio, I still have a good time going to the studio.
Yeah, man, it's you're lucky. You're a rare human being that found what they love to do. Not a lot of people get to say that. It's a great feeling.
It is, man. I know I'm blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's great that you don't take it for granted too.
Definitely don't.
That's great. How much time are we at right now?
50 minutes.
50 minutes? Are you still? What's your time situation?
I'm in no rush, man.
You sure you're good for a bit?
Yeah.
I was wondering what the I guess the plan is for this tour. I know you're going across Canada.
Mm-hmm.
I know you have a lot of shows booked. Other than, I know I asked you the question already of some of the goals that you like to go through when meeting new fans, meeting fans that you've had forever. What are some goals that you like to work towards when you're going just on tour? Not even meeting fans, just performing, just by being with other artists. What are some things you like? Because you're marketing yourself essentially. You're
100%.
going across.
And just with this show being so different. Like
Sure.
This tour is way different than any other tour, so I'm definitely looking at it a different way. I'm looking at this as and I'm noticing too, fans hitting me up. It's like, I'm 35, I'm bringing my dad to your show and so. Like I want people that might not necessarily give hip hop a chance to come out to this. More so older people, because I've done a few of these with David Miles. He has an older fan base. And I've seen like old people that I could tell when I start, they're just like, okay, let's just get this guy done. And we're here for David Miles. You know what I mean?
Okay,
like,
yeah.
And then they hear what you're talking about in the stories, and you see the people react. And at the end, they're coming up and shaking your hand. And it's like, I've never listened to hip hop, but that was the most interesting thing I've ever saw.
Yeah.
That is what I get off on, is hearing people that, not even non-hip hop fans, but people never really gave my music a chance. And then they go, oh, I didn't know. I didn't know you just didn't sing Inner Ninja No Canada or Good News. You know what I mean? Like you actually are writing some other things that are a lot deeper than what a lot of music out here is. So getting new fans, that's always my main thing on tour is bringing new people into that circle that are like, okay, I'm going to check for this guy's music now. And making sure the show works. It's acoustic things, because it is very different. A lot of people are going to be coming thinking they're going to rock out. And it's like, no, you ain't rocking out. We're chilling for this. But, I think it'll work.
There was a show at the casino. oh man, it was good. Songwriter Circle.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
sang, what's that called?
Songwriter Circle.
Songwriter Circle. I went
Yeah.
to one of those like 3 years ago, and I was pretty drunk and a little high. And
Yeah.
I shut up. I was
You
quiet. Like
get in the zone, man.
it,
Yeah.
it just has to be dark, and then the stage has to be lit,
Mm-hmm.
and people get it.
Yeah, yeah. And that's kind of where it started. We did the ECMA Singer-Songwriter Circle. And it was exactly what I was just saying. It was me, a couple other artists. I'm gonna mess up names, but older artists, singer-songwriter. You know, they got their guitar, and we were the last one to go. It was Gordy Samps Bruce Guthrow. That's who it was. It was Bruce Guthrow. You know, like it's an older traditional singer-songwriter artist. And everyone was going crazy, and then we did ours, and like, here goes the rap guy. And we did Powerless, first song, standing ovation. And it was just like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, so for that, like I've done a lot of shows where people's hands are in the air and they're saying hell yeah, and they're jumping around. But when you get this new reaction you never got for 20 years, it's exciting. It makes you want to go, okay, let's do this for a minute and see what happens.
Over the past like 10 years, I've realized that rap is rap, yeah, but the beat has a lot to do with making it rap. I've
100%.
heard it was a song by Kanye West, and it was something with 808s. It was the one that's like, in the night, I want.
Yeah. Heartless.
Whatever.
So heartless.
And there was no beat, and then he put his voice almost like a country tone, and I was like, that could be a country song, and he did it on purpose in a country tone.
Yeah.
And then I remember since that point, country and rap kind of went hand in hand, but it can also go any other way. But rap can be anything, hip hop can be anything. It just has to be.
Well, there's that saying. It's like hip hop never. What is it? Hip hop never invented anything, but it reinvented everything, which I think is pretty cool because you hear hip hop production in country now. Rock bands have like more hip hop type program drums sometimes, 808s, you know.
Yeah.
Every type of music now there's 808s. It's like that came from hip hop of like, you know, 1980s drum machine hip hop. So no, I think and that's the thing that I love about it is hip hop you can write about anything. You know.
Well, yeah. Well, you're living proof
pop
of that.
Songs and you know, certain times they'll go to the circle, but 90% of the time it's about heartbreak and love and falling in and out of love. 99% of music, hip hop, it's like you can write about politics. You can't write about politics in country. You saw what happened to the Dixie Chicks. They tried to say something and they were wiped off the planet like they never existed.
Yeah.
Hip hop, it's like it's about pushing that boundary and talking about those things that make people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's well said. Really well said. Yeah, you can definitely make people uncomfortable and say things that.
That's what I try to do now. And I think that's being confident with myself too. Even talking about myself, personal stuff. In the old days, I'd be like, I don't want to talk about that. It's a little insecure to talk about that. Now it's if I can say something that my brother goes, "Ooh, you sure you want to say that?" I'm like, all right, that's it.
So that's how you know it's.
That's how I try to do it now to make sure it catches people off guard and makes them think about things that they might not normally think about in music.
Interesting. That's a good strategy. Shock value. That's what Larry David said. He's like, if you're not
shock value, like I'm not coming out there cutting my head off on stage, like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But like, I don't even find it shock value. I think it's stuff we just talk about by ourselves and we dwell and think about ourselves.
Yeah.
But people just don't like talking about each other because it's a little awkward.
That's where Pat's success came from.
100%.
That's basically, I'd say 80% of his career.
And he was great at doing that. Like he'll go on stage and battling some gangster rappers and he'll break it down and go like, really, you're really trying to promote this lifestyle? And you know what I mean? Pat was a smart guy, man. Really smart.
He was smart.
Super smart. Like, yeah.
He knew him. I think he knew himself better than a lot of people know themselves. And when he came on here, he was talking about himself back in school. He just knew himself so well. How to read a room, how to understand if someone's bullshitting, how to go into a room full of how many people are usually at those rap battles. 1,000.
Yeah.
You know, he just knew everything around him. Very, very wise individual.
He also made it cool to be, not that he made it cool, but like you don't hear a lot of rappers talking about being a father. Especially in battle rap world. Like he made it like cool to follow him on social media and see him showing love for his family and his kids and people looked at that and be like, man, that's dope that he does that and hopefully inspired other fathers. I think it would have seen the way he acts, treats his kids and his family to inspire other people to treat their kids and family like that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And I think that's why people want to hear from you. It'll be interesting for your tribute at one of your shows, what you'll say. I'm sure. When we were doing before you came over, I didn't really know how to start it. I didn't know
No
how to
one
do the
does,
intro.
man. Like,
It's just
so
kind of
weird. Like, it's 4 days ago. You know what I mean? Like, didn't even have a funeral yet. Like, I was supposed to go on talk radio today to talk about Pat, and I canceled this morning. I was like I did this because I knew we'd be talking about the album and stuff, but they wanted me just to come on and talk about Pat, and I was like, I don't think I can. Like, I'm not ready for that yet to come on there and, well, what's the battle scene gonna lose? Like, I'm not thinking about the fucking battle scene. I'm thinking about Pat's kids and his friends and all these other things that have nothing to do with music. And yeah, I'm hoping soon I'll be a little bit more comfortable talking about it, but right now it's still a little tough.
It's a tough one for sure. We'll recoup. We'll move on, and he'll be remembered. It'll be
For sure.
it'll be a lesson learned from what he created, and we'll be good.
Yeah.
I guess plans from now until I guess when's the show at the Shore Club?
Friday.
What's today? What, man, time moves fast.
Yeah. September blows my mind that we're even in September, but yeah, we play Shore Club this weekend. Then in 2 weeks we're doing a Trailer Park Boys thing in Fredericton, like a special private show thing. And then the next one will be the tour. We start in Ontario on October 12th.
I always say September is my new year. I don't know,
Yeah,
like January
for a lot of
1st.
people, I feel that.
I'm broke. I'm fat.
Yeah.
January. That's not. I don't like September. Hockey season starting up.
Yeah.
This is my new year right
No,
now.
I feel you a lot. Well, I think September, like you said, hockey starts, basketball starts for the kids, school. Summer breaks over. Everyone's off vacation. It's like, all right, let's get our shit back together.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess, is there anything right now that you want to promote from obviously the tour, the album? Where can people get tickets? Things like that.
Yeah, classifiedofficial.com. Go to my website. You can buy the tickets, the VIP, the acoustic album, the vinyl, the CD, and even my book. I put a book out last year that I know we talked about before, but all that's available there. So
Awesome. I'm gonna come out to one of these shows for sure.
come out to Shore Club, man.
I can't get tickets. Aren't they sold out?
We'll hook you up.
All right. Are you serious?
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
I'll shoot you a message.
All right,
I'm
let me
holding
know.
you to that.
All right,
All right.
Friday night.
Friday night.
Saturdays, I think jam-packed, but Friday I could probably still hook a couple things up.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Well, once again, man, I really do appreciate you coming on here,
Appreciate it, bro.
and I really appreciate you saying that you're comfortable here.
Yeah,
Because I
man,
know a studio is a big deal in your life, so for you to come here and give the classified stamp, I appreciate it.
All good, man.
I wish you the best in this
Thank you.
2022-2023 year. Nothing but success. Everyone listening, you as well, work hard, take Classified's advice, follow, I guess, your dreams, and do whatever the hell you want to do.
Love what you're doing, man. Love what you're doing.
It's pretty simple. All right, that's all I got to say. Do you want to say anything else to the people before we close this out?
Just work hard, man. September's here. It's a new year.
Well, yeah,
Let's go hard.
All right, everyone, thank you very much for listening. We are out. Peace.